Hello everybody and welcome. This week's topic is choosing and setting up your own microscope. The first thing to know is what are the basic component parts of a microscope. To start with, we look at the base of the microscope, which gives it the stability that it needs. The body of the microscope has to be sufficiently heavy to give it stability. Another important part of the microscope body is the fine and coarse focus knobs that you can see here. The coarse focus knob here allows a generalized focus of the image. The fine focus knob here adjusts to provide you with detailed information. You will need to specify to your supplier whether you are left or right-handed, as this dictates which side of the microscope you will need the knobs to be situated. Many microscopes have them on both sides of the apparatus, which is very useful. The next element of the microscope is the head, which is connected to the body. You can choose a binocular microscope with the traditional 2 eyepieces, which is perfectly adequate for general use. Or you can choose a trinocular microscope, which has, as you can see here, a third opening where a camera can be connected. If ever in the future you think it will be necessary to connect a camera to your microscope, you will need to choose the trinocular option. Depending how much time you spend at the microscope, you can also choose to have an adjustable angle on the head, or tilt. Whilst adding to the overall cost of the microscope, it can certainly add a degree of comfort if you intend to spend long periods of time using it. The third element is the eyepieces. It is vital that the left and right eyes can be adjusted independently, for example with these dials here. This allows you to have an optimal image for each eye, which is extremely important. The fourth essential element of the microscope is the lenses. The minimum that you will need will be 10, 20 and 40 times magnification and 100 times oil immersion lens. It is possible to choose a microscope with a 40 or 50 oil immersion lens. This can be extremely useful. When examining a slide, you will often need to switch between the 40 and the 100 times lens multiple times. An oil immersion lens at 40 or 50 magnification will allow you to pass from the general 40 times overview to 100 times magnification cell detail view without needing to move or clean the slide. In addition, the 10 and 20 times magnification lenses are too short to ever be in contact with the oil, so you are able to move between all available magnifications without ever needing to remove a slide from the stage or change any of the settings. This oil immersion lens adds significantly to the price of the microscope and can almost double it, but in the long term, given that a microscope can last a lifetime as long as it is properly maintained, it can really be worthwhile. That's what you can see here. I use a 50 times oil immersion lens. What you can also see here on the stage of my microscope is that the stage clip has a little notch here. This is rarely the case in off-the-peg models, but changing the stage clip is not very expensive, in the region of €50. It is useful because, as you will see in future videos, I will often say it is important not to smear your slides right to the end, as it leaves some cells that you are not able to examine. If you have a normal stage clip, when you descend to the end of the slide, the oil immersion lens blocks against it, and you will not be able to visualize the last 5 millimeters of the slide. This notch therefore allows you to examine right to the end of the slide with your oil, which is very useful. So, in summary, on a microscope there is the base, which will give it stability with the fine and coarse focus knobs, which allow you to visualize the images, and here this little catch which allows you to block the focus. Then the head, which can be bi or trinocular, tilt adjustable or not. The eyepieces, which must be individually adjustable for each eye. And the lenses, 10, 20, 40 and 100 times magnification. The major key point when buying a microscope is to choose good quality lenses. Good quality lenses, if looked after properly, will last you a lifetime, and even that of future generations. I have already worked with 4 microscope suppliers, Olympus, Nikon, Zeiss and Leica. They are far from the only ones, but it is vital to work with a manufacturer that is known for its lenses. Next, it is important to have an adjustable condenser and diaphragm. The height on the condenser and the diameter of the diaphragm can be changed. Then the eyepieces, adjustable left and right, as I have already mentioned. Then comfort. There are new microscopes on the market where you can keep your arm braced on the table. I have already mentioned the possibility of a tilt-adjustable head. Whilst these options do not change the quality of the image, they do add to the cost of the microscope and significantly improve user comfort. To adjust the microscope, there are several settings to use for cytology and hematology. The diaphragm and the light source on the field of view must be open to allow as much light to pass through as possible. Secondly, the condenser should be as close as possible to the slide. Here you can see the dial, which allows you to move the condenser up and down. When you are performing cytology or looking at a blood smear, the light needs to pass through the slide as straight as possible to give the best image clarity, so the condenser needs to be fully open. In practical terms, as you can see here, the lever needs to be as far to the left as possible. If you lower the condenser, the light will be refracted and the angle of the light cone will be increased. This will increase the refraction of the cell borders. This is useful, for example, if you wish to examine urine, a slide agglutination test, or any other form of wet preparation. You can shut the diaphragm of the condenser and lower it, which will make the cell borders easier to see. But in cytology, we do the opposite. You move the condenser up and open the diaphragm to the maximum. So this is exactly what I've just explained, but written out so you can take notes if you wish to. Nowadays, the condenser on some microscopes is fixed in place. You cannot move it up or down. However, on some models, or even though it is fixed in place, the diaphragm can still be adjusted by this little wheel here. The condenser must be central to allow all the optics to be aligned properly. For this to happen, you need to have the condenser in a central position. It can be adjusted, and I will show you here how to do that. Here, you can see the 10 times magnification lens. You need to shut the diaphragm on the light source sufficiently to be able to see its contours when you look into the microscope. You use these little screws situated on each side here until the middle of the light source is in the center of your field of view. This is what it looks like when you look into the microscope. Here, the condenser is centered properly. If it is out of line, you will see the light has moved to one side or the other, or up or down. You must recenter it to be able to see your slides clearly. A last point, which is essential for you to properly examine your slides, concerns the use of the 40 times magnification lens. The 40 times magnification dry lens, which is standard issue on most microscopes, are designed for use by histopathologists, and they always use a cover slip. Because the cover slip reflects the light, the 40 times magnification lens is made with a correction for this diffraction. If you do not use a cover slip, the image will therefore be blurry. Here, you can see a blood smear on a 40 times magnification with the best clarity possible without the use of a cover slip. The lens is clean and nearly new. The addition of the cover slip, which the lens is designed to be used with, you can see here the clarity of the image you can expect to have. The objective has not been cleaned. The only difference between these two images is the addition of a cover slip. So if you work with a 40 times magnification dry lens, don't forget to use the cover slip. Without it, you will never have a focused image. So we've all finished for today. We'll see you back next week for the next instalment. Thank you and goodbye for now.